Good morning and happy February, happy Monday and happy second week of the intermittent fasting challenge. We'll just take a couple of minutes to let people join. Morning Craig, and we will, let me just close this down actually, so we'll get into today's exciting live programme, talking about neuroscience and the neural pathways in the brain and how we can change our beliefs and our perceptions to make sure that we are creating the right chemistry in the body. And I think it's the most fascinating time to be alive on this planet. But within that, that can be very, very challenging because we're all struggling with the changes, struggling with the lockdown. Morning, Craig. Struggling with the rules, the regulations, or the lack of them, or etc. Morning, Leslie. And also, there's just a lot of crazy energy. You know, there's the planets are doing stuff that you don't know what's going on away up there and out there that's affecting us humans. The moon was just full. And I think, you know, a lot of people are finding it hard. So, morning Susan, morning Izzy. But it was interesting yesterday because Janice and I had decided to do this retreat, fabulous food. And it was basically, we've got a couple of spaces left, but pretty much sold out by the end of the day yesterday. Just because people are, morning Sean, I think really just wanting to get together and plan things because we've not been able to do that for so long. So let's get started. Mercury in retrograde, yeah, Diane. It always seems to be. So the biggest thing, as I keep repeating all the time, is stop looking at people out there and blaming and judging and criticising. Although that will happen, of course. But take responsibility for your judgment of others and your beliefs and being able to stay in a harmonic place no matter what other people are doing. Morning, Pamela. So when it comes to the intermittent fasting, when you understand that giving the body a complete rest with no food for between 12 to 18 hours every day, depending on what you're trying to achieve. And, you know, like I say, if you've never run a marathon before, you don't go out and try and run the full thing in the first couple of weeks. You build up, and fasting's the same. So if you've never fasted before, if the word makes your blood run cold, start with 12 hours, just do 7 till 7, and then you can start to compress your eating time and to extend your fasting time. Because when you, like Janice and I have been talking about, and we will be talking about again in the future, the gut biome. Hi Mary, it's a cracker of a day. Hi Angela. The microbes in the gut that are driving our behaviours and our cravings, and I just think this is critical information, particularly if you are struggling with addiction, as we all are to varying degrees, to understand it's not you. It's these wee idiots that are living in us, causing us to make decisions that don't seem to be for our higher good. And, you know, the way we perceive our body and the things that we believe about ourselves. And I would like to clear something up. You know, a lot of people think because I'm really truly into the power of the body and innate healing, that it means I'm against all allopathic medicine. And that is absolutely not true. If you were diagnosed with a serious cancer, you may have to hold hands and have some of the treatments. But what would I like to see? Toxic treatments been a thing of the past? Absolutely I would. But right now, while we're in this transition period, you have to be sensible. And if you can't help the body make the changes, you maybe need help and assistance in that process. So I'm not saying never go to the doctor, never take a medication, or don't take any of the treatments. It's all bad out there. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have an innate intelligence and understanding that we need to expand and work on. And sometimes you will hold hands with and need some surgery or drugs. That may be necessary for you. We're all individual and we're all different. But really, and also some people think I'm scared about death and I don't want people to die. That's not true either. I have a very strong faith, and death is not something that freaks me out. Doesn't mean to say I don't experience the normal emotions of grief and sadness when people get diagnosed or die. I do, but that's not what it's about for me. It's about suffering. Stopping the suffering that a lot of us are experiencing right now. And also having, looked after my mum in that last year and thinking about how is the demise of my body going to work. Morning, Trish. And if you don't look after your body, it can end up meaning that somebody else has to look after it. And right now we have a phenomenal care system. I mean, there might be, might not be perfect, but it's there and it's phenomenal, and there's incredible people. We've just had a phenomenal support anytime we've needed it. But will that be around forever? I mean, let's face it, we really have to think about that, because if the UK goes bankrupt, which it might, then who's going to look after us? We have to redress and look at what we're doing. And a big part of that is us, the people who are capable, and there are people who are not, educating ourselves as to how the body works, how the brain works, how our, morning Julie, how our perceptions and our beliefs affect our chemistry, how the neural pathways in the brain are laid down and how things become second nature. So that we really understand, as I was saying last week, most people know more about their phone than they know about their body. And that's the reality. So the understanding, everything that I'm teaching and all these challenges we're putting out for Heal Scotland is to introduce you to the concepts, all these things that you can do for free that will have a massive impact, not just on your health and happiness, but on that of your family. Because if you feel good and you're lighthearted and you've got a sense of humour and you're not living through fear, then that absolutely resonates out into your home. It resonates with your children. And it's always, always, always comes back to us. You know, if you're blaming people for your situation, and don't get me wrong, people participate, but blaming people is only ever going to make you feel bad. It puts you in the position of victim. And everything that we're teaching at Heal Scotland is to move you from perceiving yourself as a victim to perceiving yourself as the master. And that, again, is a process. It's highly unlikely that you're going to go from believing you can't heal stage 4 cancer to you can heal it overnight. You have to start putting your focus in that attention and start thinking, language-wise, what would it take for me to be completely healed? Is it possible? So you start looking at the potentials and the possibilities in this thing we call the quantum field. So our potentials and our possibilities are limitless. But what happens is we, because of our programming, because of our parents, I mean, parents are doing their best, the best possible job that they can do. Most of them are just doing their best, and that might not be good enough for you. But we have picked up a lot of our beliefs and perceptions because of our parenting, our schools, our cultures, the people we hang out with, and it's the our ancestry. So we're coming in with a lot of these preconceived ideas and beliefs. And now the new neuroscience is saying we have this phenomenal regeneration capacity. And breathing, which we're going to do, and letting go, which we're going to do, and laying down new neural pathways, which is the repetition in the practice. This is the way for us to become healthier and happier and more creative and to be of service, because that again in the West is something that we have completely lost, is that what can we do to be of service today? And it's part of the 12-step program, because even with HeartMath, they understand they can measure our electromagnetic field, and we have a stronger field when we give than from when we get. And we've been a society of takers. What's in it for me? What can I get? What me. And when we start to sort of wake up from that level of thinking and start to see, no, actually, we're all in this together, and we can thrive, survive as well, and thrive when we pull together in our communities. And Mark Burns has got a phenomenal thing going on starting today about the 100 miles in February, whether you walk it, hop it, run it, whatever. And it's for a mental health charity called Chris's House. It's suicide awareness. And as I think you know, that's something that's very close to my heart. It breaks my heart to think what's happening to our young people today, and why that conversation we're not allowed to have, because we're all only allowed to think about the COVID situation. And that the collateral damage is our young ones are struggling. They already were, but put this on top of it. So it's really, really important to understand the power of your breath and the power of fasting for your mental health. Morning, Nikki. So what happens as you start to expand your mind and open to the possibilities that you have a power that you didn't fully understand before, is normally we won't go, oh yes, I'm an all-powerful, sentient, amazing being, from feeling that you're lacking in confidence and that you're not enough and that you can't do it. So if you're feeling like this and you're contracted, etc., your gut biome is out of balance. So the first thing we're looking at is putting the gut back into balance, and intermittent fasting, and fasting is a phenomenal way, free way to do that. And when you fast, you don't have the confusion of like, should I eat that? Is this a good food? Is that a good food? That, because that is confusing, and it is complex, because so many people are very sick right now. And if you're very sick and your routes of elimination, your kidneys, your liver, etc., are toxic and blocked, you need to be mindful of what you eat and how you detox. Whereas if you just start doing these short fasting times, you can just slowly but surely allow the body to rebalance and recalibrate for itself. And yeah, you know, if you can't afford to work with a nutritionist, which let's face it, a lot of people can't, or they just don't have the time, you can very gently just add in a 12-hour fast. Simple and safe. And then you can do more research, and you can start to expand your fasting time and learn about your body, because your body's talking to you all the time. So let's go on. Yes, Thomas, absolutely. And I think this is what we're very, very powerful beings. And I think what's going to happen now is that we're going to be forced to take matters into our own hands, because the politicians are so, God knows what they're thinking right now, but they're certainly not thinking about the communities and people that are less well off in every way. And so in our own communities, we can start creating groups for breathing. We can start creating groups for going into cold water. We can start having meditation groups, or just groups for sharing. We need to take our power back and stop expecting the government to fix the problems, because all they've really done is just create more. So let's start with a breathing exercise. So remember, when we breathe, we have this nerve that runs from the base of the spine all the way up into the brain. It's called the vagus nerve. And vagus is the Latin name for wander. And this nerve wanders into all of our organs. So it sends information through the body saying everything's good, or like, there's a problem. So most of us, this vagus nerve is flying off all day. And I don't know about you, but I certainly have felt it over this full moon, where you're just like, whoa, yeah, the anxiety's wanting to come in. It's like there's a warning system. So we need to switch that off. And breathing is one of the best ways to do that very effectively. As is cold water. Splash your face with cold water, and that will calm your vagus nerve too. So let's just start with the 4-7-8 breath before we go into a little bit more of the breathing techniques and then some tapping. If you want to do any meditation or relaxation and you've always struggled like I did, always start with your breath. Use the breath, calm yourself down, get into that nice, relaxed state, and then you can start to use the mind techniques and your imagination and the power of your visualization. Okay, and then when you repeat that process over and over again, and this is what is phenomenal about Andrew Weil's 4-7-8 breath, is that you just keep repeating it gently, patiently over the next 2 years. You've taught the body to go back into the rest, restore, repair mode instead of inadvertently being in that high alert state. This watch that I got is showing my stress levels, which I mean are pretty good most of the time. But it's interesting to see when it spikes, you're like, what happened then? So it really allows you to be very mindful. It reminds you, because bottom line is we're all busy and we forget, don't we? And things like this you can use to really help you to understand what the body's doing, and then until you can just chuck that away because you trust it. You trust the body, you trust the information yourself. Okay, so let's do the 4-7-8. So it's just breathe in for 4, hold for 7, and out for 8. So just do it with me. Hold. And out. And in. Hold. And out. And in. Hold. And out. And in. Hold. And out. Okay, and just some nice, easy, free breathing. And just check in. You probably feel that even slightly, just a little calmer. Okay, and now what we're going to do is the bellow breath. And what I want you to do is think about something that has been bothering you that you need to let go. It might be a person. There's a lot of conflicting viewpoints floating around and a lot of anger and resentment and fear around opposing belief systems. So it might, if it's a person, it might be you might be worried about a loved one, whatever it is. I want you just to really focus in on letting it go as we do this breath. Again, super simple, brilliant for the vagus nerve, great for your digestive system, speeds up the metabolism. It's a combination. It's like the breath of fire, but it's more like the bellow breath. It's in between. So you just, as you breathe in, your belly comes out. So just do it with me. Your belly's out, and then just let go. So you're just blowing the air out. Okay? Out through your nose. Give your nose a good blow. So just do it again with me. So breathe in and fill the belly up. And then breathe out. And you pull the belly back into your spine, the back of your spine. Okay, just maybe blow my own nose before I started this. So blow your nose. Remember, if you're not a nose breather, this is another thing that we've been working on from the Heal Scotland page, is becoming nose breathers again. So there's a lot more resistance when you breathe in and out through your nose, so it takes more energy. So don't be surprised when you want to just go back to breathing through your mouth. You'll probably find if you go out running, as soon as you start to get your cardio, your pulse rate goes up to 120, 140, you'll start breathing through your mouth because it takes less energy. So you really have to have an effort to breathe in and out through the nose. which is in this breathing exercise, if you can, please do it that way. If you can't, don't worry. We all have to start from where we're at right now. So breathing in and filling the belly out. And then just breathe out and all the air out the lung, push it out. Keep going, really fill the belly up. Five more. Now breathe all the way in and all the way out and into your first controlled pause. Just hold it. Hold the breath there. And take your attention inside the body. Maybe there's a bit of tingling. Feels a bit strange. My mouth used to go all kind of numb. Just observe what's there and just let go of everything that has been bothering you this week. Allow it to dissolve and release. You have the power. And then you're going to breathe all the way in. Cleanse the pelvic floor muscles, the abdominals, and squeeze all that energy up through the base of the brain into the pineal gland and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. And then let go. And a nice few easy breaths. Okay. So you should be starting to feel anything from a tiny little bit more relaxed to a huge bit more relaxed. We're going to do one more round. Really stay inside the body and observe what's happening as you're oxygenating the cells, pumping up the cells with oxygen. They're starting to expand and lighten and brighten. Your internal organs are getting a brilliant massage. Your microbiome's like, whoa, they're back. Somebody's in control here. The vagus nerve's like, yes, this is what I need. It's putting a smile into your face, calming down any stress levels, and you're changing your chemistry, alkalizing your blood. All of that's going on right now, resetting your system. So let's do it again. So just breathe in, tummy right out. Pull the belly right back into the back of your spine. Keep going, keep your eyes closed and listen into the body. Work that belly. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way in. All the way out. And hold it there. Again, observe. Keep your focus in the middle of your forehead. Look right through your forehead. Observe the tingling. Any sensations, lightness, dizziness, anything that's there is all good. Allow the cells to rearrange themselves. Reset. Allow the past to dissolve, all stress to leave. Just let go. You're changing your oxygen and your carbon dioxide levels. And then 3, 2, 1, breathe all the way in. Pelvic floor muscles, abdomen, and just squeeze that energy into the brain. Squeeze it. Squeeze it. Activate your pineal gland. Become the alchemist. And just let go. Let it all go. And just take some nice, easy breaths. Again, really focusing inside the body, what's there. Allowing any resentments, anger, fear to dissolve and let it all go. Allow the judgments to dissipate and be released from every cell in the body. Okay, and now what I want you to do is just see yourself as the best version of you that you can imagine to date. The more of this work you do, the more your imagination will play and become excited and expand and become more creative. So whatever it is you want for this body, for your life, for your family, for your energy levels, for your healing, for your health, for your vitality, for your excitement and curiosity about life, for your peace, see it now. Choose. Decide. Put your cosmic order in. You are the creator. Just see yourself the way you would love to be, free from fear, confident, knowing you're enough, knowing you're powerful, humble, helpful, kind, compassionate, slim, toned, fit and healthy, with a deep trust in all that is. Whatever it is your picture, just bring it in now. See it, feel it like it's here, and then just let it go. And any doubt, any self-doubt, self-criticism, any limitations that you have around yourself and your power, welcome all of that too, and just let it go. You have the power. And any fear or stress or insecurities, any feeling that you're being controlled, that you're wanting to control others, welcome all of that too. And just let it go. And any wanting approval or feeling disapproved of, welcome all of that too, either from yourself or others, and then just let it go. And see yourself again, the best version. Use your imagination, powerful creating tool. Visualize it, see it, feel it, be it. And then just let it go. Okay, well done. So we're going to do some EFT around the fasting challenge, because there's a lot of concepts around fasting and a lot of fear around fasting. I know a lot of people are on it and have been doing it for a long time, have understood it, but we all come up against ourselves at times. So if there's anything particular you're struggling with, pop me a message right now and we'll do some tapping around believing that we don't have the power to not eat. So what can happen is, well, first of all, you may, depending on what you're eating, already. If your diet's really crap, which let's face it, for a lot of us it is, and we know that phenomenal organic live healthy food is much more expensive than junk food, which is completely wrong and something we also have to really address. So let's not kid on that budget doesn't play a part, because it does. So there can be limiting beliefs around being able to afford good food, which Janice Klein and I will be addressing. And there can also be limiting beliefs around your ability. If food, and let's face it, for a lot of us, it's been a lifetime of wanting to be slimmer, wanting to be healthier, wanting to be, and never really actually making complete peace with the body and with the food we eat. There's always the guilt around it and the shame, etc., that goes with it. And then also, the self-medication, that if you feel hungry, or if you have a feeling that you translate to be hunger, that you will put food in to make that feeling go away, instead of maybe making sure you're hydrated and doing a bit of tapping around the trigger behind it. And that's a whole other video. So let's look at the feeling that I'm hungry, so therefore I must eat. If you have if you're working and you get your lunch, say, at 1 o'clock, and you start to feel hungry at 12, then you probably know, well, that's fine, I'll be eating in an hour. But if you're having real cravings, then that's a different thing. We need to, again, go back and look at Janice's live last Monday, how it's the microbiome that are causing the cravings, but also the emotions can be causing the cravings. Emotional and stress eating is a real thing too. And the belief that if I don't eat, I'm very hangry, these emotions come up, and fasting can bring up a lot of these feelings. So I'm just going to do a generic tap around this. So we start off with all the problems or perceived problems that we're having. If you're thinking it's problematic, it's because your cells are contracted and you've got chemistry in the body, adrenaline and cortisol, that are saying there's a problem, there's a problem. And when you look out through that chemistry, guess what you see? Problems everywhere. And often when I'm working with people, they'll say, oh, I don't know where to start, I've got so many problems. And what's hilarious is that as soon as you let go and expand through a breathing exercise or an emotional release exercise, all your problems, if they don't disappear, they'll suddenly seem more surmountable, because the feelings are driving the thoughts, and the thoughts are driving the feelings. So you can bring the thinking up and maybe bring the feeling up, but this is thinking positive. If you're not feeling positive, you ain't going to get a result with this work. The feeling has to match the thinking. And sometimes you can bring your feeling down by thinking negative things, because you've laid down neural pathways that always go to the worst case scenario. You've told your story, I am a worrier. That's just me. That's the way I am. And maybe it is the way you are, but only because you programmed yourself that way, or other people have helped you being programmed. So when we do this work, we can look at the thoughts, bring the thoughts up, and then bring the feelings up. But what can happen is the feelings can come down, which will drag your thinking down. For example, you've not had any sleep, you wake up in the morning, you don't feel good, and your thinking will be problematic. And then if you're hungover, that brings the thinking down even further. And so we have to look, the two things go hand in hand. You cannot have an angry feeling and an unconditional love thoughts. It's just not the way it works. They go together. The thoughts and the feelings go together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the words to change the thoughts, and then we're going to use the tapping to get the feeling to match the thoughts. So the idea is we're taking ourselves out of this problem. Oh, I can't do it. Poor me. This is too hard. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have this. I don't have that. Yak, 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 which is what we all do. So I'm not belittling anyone here. I do this myself too, because I'm in problem. My cells are contracted and I'm in problem mode. we're going to use the techniques to take us out of problem mode into solution focus. Okay? And this is the tribe as well. Never underestimate the power of your tribe. Get together with like-minded peeps that are going to go, right, okay, come on, we can do this. We've got this. Let's do it. And if you are fasting and there is a time that's challenging, maybe if you're, say, for example, doing 12 till 6, maybe 11 till 12's hard for you. Go for a walk if you can. Do something, distract yourself from it. Tap. Maybe it's in the evening if you stop eating at 6 or 7. With fasting, it's highly recommended for the best results that you eat 3 hours before you go to bed, and that you go to bed 10, 11 at the latest, to maximise Mother Nature's natural cycles. Okay? And I know that a lot of people now they're staying up way late, missing the healing hormones, and then exhausted in the morning, and a lot of teenagers do that. I was out for a walk yesterday and I heard 2 teenagers on their bikes talking about, oh, I got to sleep at 5 o'clock this morning and then I never got up till 2 o'clock this afternoon. That's the reality of what this situation is allowing our teenagers to do, and for parents to try and police that is a minefield. So let's tap. I always start with the problem, even although I'm doing this, I'm thinking this, I'm wishing this, I'm blah, blah, blah. And then how would you love it to be? Well, you would love it to be effortless. You'd love it to be, you're laying down these new neural pathways now with your repetition and your practice. So here's the worst case scenario, which the mind wants to go to. So we're just going to let go of that, and we're going to take the thinking round to the best case scenario. So if you have very specific goals in terms of weight or size or clarity, or maybe it's you're setting up a new business, or you get a new idea, you want to call in your soulmate, you want a new job, whatever it is, we work on the worst case scenario first, even though I'm worrying about that, even though I'm thinking that, and then we take it round to the best case scenario. And be assured, the more of this work you do, the better your best case scenario will get. Because what tends to happen for all of us is we think, well, I don't want to ask for too much because, I'm not going to get too much. And I need to keep it real. No, you don't. Use your imagination and think, well, wait, and I'm not saying it will arrive tomorrow, although it might, but we're in the process. We are setting our sails for the best case scenario. How does it get even better than this? Okay, so tap with me, and I'm just going to do generic fasting issues, and feel free to add in your own words. Even although the idea of fasting and not eating scares me a bit, even although I doubt myself sometimes whether I'm going to be able to do it, because food's always had a power over me, and I've never really felt in control of my eating and my choice of foods. And I can't really imagine being able to not eat for a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It's just out with my comfort zone right now. And I just can't see me being able to do it. I just think about food all the time. What if I'm hungry? What if I'm not able to do it? I'm stressed enough. Blah, 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 blah. All the things that are coming in. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't know where to start. It's so confusing. All of that. Bring it all in. But even although my mind's chucking up all this nonsense, I deeply and completely love, trust and accept myself. Even although sometimes my mind takes over. And even although sometimes I believe all my limiting thoughts. And even although I know that I am capable of so much more. And even although I know I'm limiting myself and listening to that monkey mind, I deeply and completely love, trust and accept myself. Even although I know I'm a work in progress and I'm learning. And even although I know how to lay down new, phenomenal superhighways in my brain that will take me to greater levels of health and well-being. I deeply and completely love, trust and accept myself. Okay, deep breath. Okay, just tap in, allow that energy to settle. See what the mind's chucking up, if anything. Just allow it. You can feel the energy moving. Let it be. Okay, so now this is where you start to tap on your goals. What it is that you want to feel, have, be, see, do, perceive. If you've been telling yourself a story for a long time about the body, and about how you've tried everything and nothing works and all of that story, you need to break that story up and open up your potential for success. Okay, so again, feel free to use your own words. I'm now open. I am now open to the miracle of healing. I allow my body to harmonise, and I allow it to readjust to the perfect weight and energy levels. And you can put your weight in there or whatever it is you want. I allow myself to effortlessly reach my goals. I allow my body to digest my food effortlessly. I allow myself to tap into my intuition and choose the foods that I need today. I allow myself to let go all of these negative stories I've been telling myself for years. I'm letting go of believing I have no control, of believing the body is working against me. I allow myself to create an amazing new relationship with my cells. I'm listening and I am trusting. And I am being guided by an inner intelligence. I allow myself to trust and surrender to the process. I allow myself to make the time needed to learn new dishes, new recipes, new ideas, new information. I am important. I am enough. And I deserve the best. The best food, the best thoughts. I allow myself to feel unconditional love for this body and all that it's seen me through. I allow myself to trust in its innate power. I am a powerful being. Okay, deep breath. Okay, and again, just close your eyes and listen. Okay. Now, there may be, you need to keep tapping for a bit longer. We have this really limiting belief that if something's been a problem for a long time, it's going to take a long time to get rid of it. But when you start to see the body as energy rather than a solid, thank you, Patricia, then you realise that things can go like this. I'm sure you know people who've smoked a lot and just decided one day to stop, and that's been it. Same with alcohol, same with gambling, same with a toxic relationship. Just the time is right and suddenly it's like, oh, because we've moved ourselves out of that trance state. And that's, I think, what cold water particularly does. My friend was saying that this traffic warden, she was in having a swim and she saw a traffic warden putting a ticket in her car when there was no other cars around, and she came out and she had an altercation with him, so she just ran and jumped back into the cold sea to free herself from the anxiety and the stress that the situation had allowed. So, this is something else that I think we need to be mindful with our teenagers and our children, is that anxiety and negative feelings are completely normal and natural. We all have them. but it's just we need to teach them how to move out of them. You know, life can be very tough and challenging, and it certainly is right now. And getting teenagers out the house and out their bedroom right now, it's like, and that can be a marathon. So it's really important that we just say all these emotions that you're feeling are completely normal and fine. But the big problem has been that we didn't realise that we could control them. We didn't realise we could change our beliefs. You know, this attacking each other because we don't believe the same thing. And in Scotland, we had the whole Celtic Rangers, Protestant Catholic thing, hating people because of their belief systems. I mean, I really, really had hoped we'd grown past that. You are not what you believe. We are all here struggling and doing our best. And really, when you get to know people, you'll understand that innately inside each one of us, we're good to the core. We maybe just are not being heard, not being understood, have not been given an opportunity. And that's something that we, the people, can change. The politicians aren't going to change it, let's face it. They're too busy doing whatever they're doing. But we can't complain and not come up with solutions. And the solutions is get into your community, start these groups, learn about the power of breathing and master your emotions. Learn about how you can use your imagination to get what you want. What's that? My teens move when the place to go is appealing. We go for... Yeah, absolutely, Marianne. That's the thing. And I always say that. If we, you know, and we are lucky in Argyll as well, because there's lots of places to go and things to do. And, you know, my daughter got a boat, and that's been a huge thing for us. But I understand that we are privileged. But the bottom line is, if you were to say to me, do you want to do this? It's got to be more interesting than what I'm already got planned. So it has to be interesting, it has to be exciting. And for me, the information we're bringing to you in Scotland's Wild Medicine is exciting. But it means that you have to take responsibility. You need to stop blaming other people out there and attacking. Everything has to come back to you. Why are you angry? Why are you triggered? Why are you wanting? You need to deal with your emotions first. You come at me or anyone attacking and judging and saying you're wrong and I'm right, that's never going to solve the problem. You can say, look, that, you know, that's really upsetting me. Can you explain to me why you think that? Why you feel that? Absolutely open the conversation up. We have to communicate. This divide and conquer strategy is working like a dream because people are attacking each other at a time where we need to get into our communities and get the young ones, the teenagers in and have fun and work out ways and solutions ourselves, because we are the people that care. Our children and our grandchildren and future generations to come, if they don't learn how to manage their emotions and how to fly their body, and they don't understand that junk food every single day, every day will destroy your body, but before that it destroys your love of life. And that, to me, it's not about dying, it's about not living. And so many people are not living right now because the fear is lowered their IQ and they cannot see past that. So when you release the fear, you may carry on doing the same things, but you may also take different decisions and you may see life differently. When you start to wake up, as they call it, and move up into these higher states of being and really work on yourself, your anger, all your feelings, you will start to see things you didn't expect. You'll start to realise how you have limited yourself. We all do it. When you go into Byron Katie's The Work, let me do an example of that before I finish. So, for example, there's a limiting belief could be, I am not strong enough to fast, right? Let's just use fasting because that's what we're on about just now. So that's a thought. I am not strong enough to fast. I don't have the willpower to fast. So it's a thought that's come in, and along with the other 60,000 you're going to have today. But for some reason, you'll take one like that and you'll grab it. I am not strong enough and I don't have the willpower to fast. And you believe it. So with Byron Katie's The Work, he would say, is that true? I am not strong enough. I don't have the willpower to fast. Is it true? Question number 1. Question number 2. Can you 100% know that that is true. Now, some people will stick there and say, yes, I do know it's true. Others will start to go, well, it's a possibility, perhaps, if I understood more. Question number 3. How does it make you feel when you choose to believe that thought? Okay, so it's the thought came in, you believed it. You chose to believe it. So who's the believer? Who's doing the believing here? And then question number 4 is, who would you be without that thought? Oh, listen to my belly. Who would you be without that thought? You'd be more empowered, more excited maybe. And then turn it around. I have the willpower. I have the strength to fast. That's another thought. It's the opposite of the one you were choosing to believe. So you can start to see how the mind's like, oh, right. So, then it stops you being the victim again, feeling that, and I'm not saying go and do a 4-day water fast, but start where you're at. Start with the 12 hours and see how you go. Learn, educate about your gut biome, feed the gut biome so there is no cravings. You're not you're not hangry. And then gently ease your way into it. And if you're suffering from anxiety and depression, then I highly, highly, highly recommend you just 2 things, fasting and breathing, and a bit of tapping as well. Write down your goals. What do you want? If you were unlimited, if you could have whatever your heart desired, really get clear on what it is you want in your health and your wealth and your relationships. So when the more of this work you do, the more you will realise that the only person getting in the way of your success is you. Do you need to be around other like-minded people? Without a shadow of a doubt, that will help you like you would not believe. People are still scared to say what they really think, what they believe, for fear of disapproval from others. And, that's okay as well. But as long as you're true to yourself, because when you start to understand why people are getting sick, it's not just the food, and it's not just the negative thoughts. It's taking on and allowing others to bully you in the nicest possible way. They may not even know they're doing it. Taking on their concepts and ignoring your heart and your soul's journey. Because your purpose is there. But it takes courage, because sometimes you'll have to stick your head up and it will not make sense to other human beings. And that can be challenging, because what they'll do then is they'll bring you down. And they may not even notice that they're doing it, because it's all about control, security, approval, separation and oneness. Okay? So that's today's live. I think what we'll do tomorrow is go into that a little bit more. The feeling of being controlled, or maybe you are the one trying to control others, and how much energy that can take. Maybe you feel insecure and you need other people to behave differently so that you can feel secure. Again, that never works either. Short term, perhaps. Long term, never. Approval. Maybe you're continuously looking for approval from others and behaving in certain ways so that people don't disapprove of you, i.e. lying and saying something just to go along with the narrative, the general narrative. And then separation. Either we feel lonely or we want to be cut off from others who don't share the same viewpoints. And then oneness, wanting just to be at one. And there is something, my dad was a great one for, do not rock the boat, say nothing. I'm afraid that doesn't work for me. Saying nothing. I think it's a good idea not to give your opinion unless somebody asks for it. Or definitely on Facebook, you can put your own opinions up and people can choose to follow you or not. It's completely up to us as individuals what we allow through our mind. And I think in today's really fascinating neuroscience, neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, we really do need to be mindful. But part of that is being aware that other people may not have your greatest good in their hearts without letting that upset you and destroy your day. You just have to be aware and alert and awake and really tuning in. Is this right for me? Am I getting coerced into this? Because that's what's happening right now. A lot of people are being coerced into things. So now you can really tap. Remember, what we want is we want the cells, instead of going, oh, I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, I can't do this, I'm not strong enough, I don't have enough willpower, it's just like, right, okay, that's the mind. The mind and the emotions, we're in the problem focus, so let's allow myself up here. What was it take for me to feel unconditional love? And then we just release until we're in that high vibratory state. Thank you, Senga. Lovely to see you, darling. Yeah, and I'm excited. You know, obviously, what's happened to me is all my workshops and retreats, etc. I've had to stop, and I'm really excited, more excited than ever about sharing Scotland's wild medicine and all the amazing things that we're all doing and getting on board with, and food. You know, I'd kind of been steering away from food because, as you know, it's possibly one of the most difficult things for people to change. But now that we're coming into the spring, and people do love that, and it's a cool social pastime, and we can really inspire each other, share recipes, and show how to get life and pro and prebiotics and fats into our children and grandchildren and all of that. So yeah, it's exciting times. And when the fear comes in and the overwhelm and the complete, like, what the hell is going on? We just tap and release and talk to a like-minded friend. Okay, thanks a million everybody for joining in. Spread the word. You know, we're doing this challenge for 2 weeks. Even if you just try it one day, it's great. You know, it's just, again, about learning another superpower for you in the future in case you need it. Have an awesome day. Happy February. It's a gorgeous day out there. I'm about to go and get a pile of kids and take them for a hike. So have a good one. Thanks for joining. Ciao, ciao.